Oxygen levels
at maximum.
set a course to Dark Waters 9.
After the angels come down from heaven, they would start mating with human women. This would lead to the birth of a race of giants, which the Bible calls Nephilim. But if this is really true, then where are all their bones? Well, there's a bunch of these old newspaper articles that actually do mention people digging up giant skeletons, but after a certain point, they all kind of just disappear. There was even this letter to Thomas Jefferson claiming to have found this 70-foot tall skeleton, but initially they thought this just came from elephants, until this man called Ezra Stiles starts risking his whole reputation. He sends this letter to the president himself, arguing that these bones came from the biblical giants. He pleads with him to reconsider this elephant theory, because these bones were simply too large to belong to any animal. Now, what's really strange is that there's even this entry on a US government site requesting documents pertaining to the resurrection chamber of Gilgamesh, the location of his body, and the location of the buried Nephilim. Some people even say this came from leaked Hillary Clinton emails. So then what happened to their bones? I mean, they couldn't have just disappeared. Well, this leads me to this huge conspiracy, which says these bones were not lost, but rather repurposed, since they were too big for any animal. The theory is that they were used to create or complete dinosaur fossils, which just blows my mind. Because if we just found giant human skeletons all the time, then of course everyone would immediately believe in the Bible. But the devil is a liar, and he doesn't want us to believe. See, dinosaurs aren't even mentioned in the Bible. So instead of giants, there would be giant monsters. And as the world calls these Nephilim fantasy, we now call these dinosaurs reality.
Activate submersible. You know, I've been to the Chicago Field Museum, and they got one of the most, what was it called? The most preserved, I guess, T-Rexes in the entire world. So I seen it, and it never occurred to me, like, dang, could it be a possibility this is made of giant bones? Some of them. That is an absolutely wild theory. If I go again, I'm definitely going to be looking a little bit harder. What are your thoughts on that? As a matter of fact, let's look at it right now. What would it be called? Sue the T-Rex. We might need to take a Dark Waters 9 field trip. Check this out, y'all. That would actually be fun. A Dark Waters 9 field trip. We might be on to something with that. But here it is. Dang. Alright, now. That would be crazy if they was like, alright, let's snatch these ribs out of a giant and throw it up there. Get it a little bit bigger for you. Yeah, how crazy would it be if they was like, man, we'll just snap these ribs off, throw it on the Sioux. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple theories. A couple people were saying that this could possibly be a dragon without his wings, is what some people theorized as well. You know, growing up, I loved watching the movie, you know, with the classic Jello shaking and the raptor coming around, you know? But it still makes you think. Did they pull a fast one on us? Look in the back. Yeah, guys, we need a field trip, man. We got to get out. We definitely need to take a Cairo Museum field trip. I hear terrifying screams coming from the forest.
You talk too much. You can't hear what's happening.
That sounded like a psychopath.
You talk too much. You can't hear what's happening.
Listen, that was a revenge will be mine scream, wasn't it? That was crazy. Or it could be a skinwalker. Alright guys, something creepy is about to happen and we have to identify what. Looked like a ghost shifting in and out of a dimension. If you thought you weren't going to get an excellent specimen today, think again. Hi, Legion. Alright guys, I am immediately thinking dragon scales. The first thing popped into my mind, do you guys see this? It's got me questioning a few things, honestly, because that does look like, you know, the top of some type of dragon, does it not? Look at the scales still on it. Interesting. What would you guys name this one? I'll have to go with dragon scales. What is this? Did this person capture a ghost on camera inside the Queen Mary in Long Beach? You know, the craziest part about this is I've actually been to the Queen Mary. I walked on top of it. You know, they got the little coin that, you know, you can put in, and I've been there.
Did this person capture a ghost on camera inside the Queen Mary in Long Beach? Last week I posted this pic that someone caught of a little girl named Jackie, who is said to haunt the pool room. Now this pic, taken in the very same room, seemingly captures a woman in a white dress. Comment your thoughts on this. Did this person capture...
You know, I vaguely remember it being just like that. Of course, I went during daytime, but I remember, you know, the blue and white colors all throughout it. Do I remember where this specific room is? No. But I wonder what the Queen Mary was before, honestly. Activate submersible. Queen Mary.
The Queen Mary is the most haunted ship in the world, and specifically it has one room that is so haunted that nobody was allowed to stay in it for over 30 years. It was originally a set of 3 rooms, but now it is just one room, B340. Supposedly in the 60s, during one of the final transatlantic cruises before the ship was docked in Long Beach, a man went crazy and brutally murdered 2 women. His crimes were discovered and he was locked in the stateroom, and a guard was posted outside. A little while later, he started pounding on the door saying someone was in there with him trying to kill him. The guard ignored him, thinking it was him trying to escape. After a while, the passenger quieted down and the guard figured he went to sleep. The next day, when the ship arrived in New York, NYPD was summoned. When they opened the door to the stateroom, they found that the man had been ripped apart and his limbs were spread all over the room. There was no way he could have done it to himself. And now they keep a Ouija board in the room. This is only one of the many stories of room B340. Make sure to pause to read these other stories.
I had no idea when I went there that it was actually haunted. I just thought it was a big ship.
I absolutely love the lore of the Queen Mary. Every once in a while I like to come and stay on the ship, and this is my second time. Okay, excuse my terrible filming skills. I had to slow it down just so you could see. Depending where you are on the Queen Mary, your room is actually going to look different. The starboard side has the best view. I was actually kind of surprised because you can just open this right up and get the most beautiful view of Long Beach. Now this time around I did do Dark Harbor, but I also did a graveyard tour where they kind of show you a lot of the spooky behind the scenes stuff at midnight. I personally think it was so worth it. It just made me feel like a kid exploring, and who doesn't want to explore a haunted ship? It's also an active museum, and all throughout the ship you can kind of see the history. I just love old-timey things, and what did they even do with that saddle? I genuinely hate modernism, and I think everything should just look like this. But yeah, this is the old playroom for the kids. I think it's so creepy and cute at the same time. iPad kids could never. I'm always super nice to old dolls because I want the spirits inside them to love me. There are definitely a lot of rocking chair moments throughout the whole ship and just endless gorgeous views, and everything is interesting to look at. They even have this Russian sub next to it, but I don't think you can go in there. This whole place is really just a maze with history everywhere you turn, and I can appreciate that. I absolutely love learning about history when it's in this type of context. Like, you really just feel like you're a part of it. You get to step and be where these things happened, and it really just adds perspective. So room B340 is notoriously the most haunted room in this whole hotel. I guess people get a lot of ghost activity when they do stay here. I did not get the chance to rent it out this time, but I'm really hoping that next time I will. It's kind of crazy that they just give you a Ouija board. They have some fun little gift shops on board, and I'm kind of a sucker for gift shops because I'm really reckless with my money, so I ended up buying a few things and taking it back to my room. The propeller is probably one of my favorite parts. I'll just stand there and think about how it's like over 3 of me tall. One of the coolest things about the Queen Mary, though, is just the fact that it wasn't just a cruise.
That propeller was insane. You can just look down at it. Wow, I did not, like, when I went, I just was on top, just like walked the deck, went down. I had no idea.
3 of me tall. One of the coolest things about the Queen Mary, though, is just the fact that it wasn't just a cruise ship, that it ended up being a warship as well in World War II. They really do just let you wander around and be Snoopy. Apparently someone died right here. Anyway, I do think that whenever you come on here, you do have to understand that you're not trying to come for the most luxurious room experience, but rather that you're just trying to gain some perspective and appreciate a little bit of history. Now, I do kind of wish that they had set up more spaces to kind of look how it did whenever it was old-timey. I'd love to kind of experience that a little bit more, but they do have these other little model ships kind of set up. I mean, I guess they're not little, but you can kind of see and look what everything looked like, what was available, the difference between like first class and like the peasant class, which is where I would be. But I would probably be down here in the isolation ward because, I mean, I do be getting sick. Whenever I was on deployment, I got the nickname Patient Zero because of that. This is definitely a place that is worth a day trip at least, just to kind of walk around and see everything. I personally think that it's worth actually staying on. I really hope other people just love this place just as much as I do.
Painting, unquestionably of a high-status woman, is generally accepted to be Queen Mary I, daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. It was released by Museums Sheffield. The portrait is no less than exquisitely detailed, with the subject adorned in Tudor kirtle and overgown, with a richly decorated red bodice. It is adorned with jewels, pearls, and embroidery, which upon closer inspection look almost as detailed as a photograph. However, if one casts their attention to her right hand, which, true to form, can be seen clutching a pair of tan leather gloves, a habit seen in more than one of her portraits, you will notice the hand appears to be deeply melanated. This peculiarly dark-colored appendage, however, is so expertly painted that one would be forgiven for mistaking it for the hand of a melanated, or indeed, black woman. Bizarrely, in contrast to this, her left hand shows none of the color, detail, or fidelity seen in the opposing hand, almost as though the dark-colored original hand had been hurriedly painted over by an artist unable to replicate the skill of the original painter. In support of this assertion, the undersleeve cuff, present beneath the wrist ruffles on her right hand, are entirely non-existent on her left hand. It's almost as though they have been hastily painted over. Now, naturally, logic would assert, surely there is another explanation. Perhaps the hand itself is gloved. However, you will note the subject has a pair of gloves in her possession, as was a habit of the sitter. So unless having a triad of gloves was custom, that would be the more far-fetched assumption. In addition, one can observe the skin-like texture of the hand, contrasts the leather-like texture of the gloves. And if perhaps uneven light is posited as the cause for this aberration, one can observe how evenly the lighting falls on the bodice. The portrait is centrally lit, and hence this is not the result of the hand being in any kind of shadow. It seems that every path of interrogation seems to draw us to the conclusion that the hand presented is the natural colored hand of the subject, and that the hand seems to be consistent with deeply melanated populations. I have provided a photo of an African hand for comparison. In addition to this, she seems to possess extraordinarily long arms and relatively broad shoulders, which is not very typical of modern European body plans. The hair of the subject is also visibly kinky, bearing a bizarrely afro-like texture that is not entirely befitting to her complexion and facial features. What do you think the reason for these features are? Do you think it's possible that this painting, unquestionably of a high-status woman, is generally accepted to be Queen Mary I, daughter of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon? It was released by Museums Sheffield. The portrait is no less than exquisitely detailed, with...
That is absolutely wild. I didn't even know Queen Mary was an actual person, but hey, we learn something every day.
Did you know the world's most haunted cruise ship is said to trap the souls of the dead forever? The Queen Mary was once the pride of the seas, luxury by day, a warship by night. But her history is soaked in blood, accidents, and whispered curses. Passengers drowned in her pool, their bodies never recovered. A young sailor was crushed screaming in a steel door. Soldiers vanished from locked cabins. And to this day, their spirits still walk the decks. Visitors swear they hear children laughing in the dark, see women in gowns floating through the ballroom, and feel icy hands dragging at their clothes. In the drained pool, screams echo, and wet footprints trail into nowhere. Some believe the Queen Mary itself is cursed, a ship that feeds on fear. Guests say voices call their name from empty cabins, shadows crawl along the walls, and if you stare too long into the mirrors, someone else stares back. This ship no longer sails, but her passengers may never leave. Would you dare close your eyes and sleep here, knowing the next breath you hear might not be your own? Comment if you'd risk it. Did you know the world...
Comment, would you risk it for the biscuit? This is biotech of the geometric stasis pattern. Biofields.
Their way of tagging locked grid zones. You think it's for maintenance? Nah. This is how they ID which sites are actively channeling currents. So we call leading straight into this sealed node and guard it with yellow poles, not traffic safety. These are anchor posts. It's the modern version of standing stones. They ground the frequency and stop flow bleed. That's why they're perfectly spaced. Geometric stasis pattern.
He saw a full-bodied apparition. And this is only the second, this is number 2, what he classifies as a haunted mine. Number 2.
Yeah. Some years back by myself. And, I'm cool with that. And I had come down a passageway behind me. And, I don't care who you are or how tough you think you are. When you're in a mine by yourself, you're lying if you say you're not got the heebie-jeebies. But, I'm cool with that. And I came around from the backside through a passageway. I came right out here, this very spot. And I was changing out the lights, lit up a cigarette, was having some water, and I sat on this tramway rail, right? I had been here about 30 seconds, maybe, under a minute. And my light was on low like it is now because I was conserving battery power. And something came right up behind me, very hard, like a hand on your back, and just pushed in one motion, pushed and threw my hat off with my headlamp onto the main hallway. It just went flying off. The light was still lit, and there was this rush of cold air that went past me. And there's no air in here, okay? There's no ventilation. It's cool, but there's no continuous air current. And I just freaked out. I thought somebody was in this mine, saw me and came up behind me. And I'm probably one of the only people to carry a firearm in a mine. And I grabbed it and put a round in it. because I didn't know if somebody's intentions were in here. And it just really terrified me. Well, I got the headlamp put back on my hat. I turned the power up. And right over there is another work passage. And as soon as I was in the middle of the tracks and I put it up, an apparition of a man went running that way. Not, a full person, but an apparition took off that way. I just, whoa. That's when I just froze. And I was like, man, I'm getting out of here. Whoa. And I started to go, but no. Curiosity got the best of me, and I took off after it. Thank goodness I didn't find anything, and nothing else happened. And I debated whether or not to leave, but I decided I was scared. But I calmed down, trying to process what in the heck I saw. But anyway, I followed where that thing went, and I went in as probably stupid as all get out. But it's like, you gotta know. So I never saw it again. Nothing ever happened again. I went hundreds and hundreds of feet further down. But when I was coming back up, I'm telling you, it took me forever to get out of here, because about every 25 feet, man, I was stopping, turning around. I was looking everywhere. And I tell you what, I'd never been so glad to see daylight in my life. And I have no reason for that. I have no explanation for what happened, but it happened. This would be the first time that I have come back in this mine in years, with Mr. Boggs here. No, I wasn't scared to come back in. It's just the first time to come back in. So everything pretty much looks the same.
Except for the apparition.
Yeah, except for the apparition, man. But he wanted me to tell that because it's Halloween.
It's Halloween. I thought, a lot of questions we have, are these mines haunted? I would put this as a top 5, because every time I've been in here by myself, it's been a heavy feeling at times on your chest.
It's eerie, man.
And,
that other mine man, that's just bad karma.
This is a top 2 for him, which is crazy. This is number 2. And he saw a full-bodied apparition. And this is only the second. This is number 2, what he classifies as a haunted mine. Number 2, he saw a full-bodied apparition. And this is only the second.
I wonder what number 1 is then. The tallest waterfall in the world. You guys tell me. That's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you enjoyed yourself, the code word for today, headlamp. Go ahead and drop headlamp in the comments below. When you do that, that lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video and you really rock with your boy. And I just want to say thank you for your support. I'm going to try to go live soon over on Jet Ski Chuck, either today or tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be diving into all types of stuff. You know how we get down on this community. We get deep on these waters. And I just want to say, thank you for watching. This was the most mysterious TikToks on the internet today. See you later.